Good afternoon, and welcome to the Saturday, I believe it is, yes, February the 25th edition of the OBX Wave Report. I am so glad to have you all with me here this evening. I am so privileged to be able to share these wave reports with all of you. I can't fully express how much I appreciate all of you who have come to watch these wave reports and who have done so much to support me. And I hope that I am able to bring you a combination of joy and help to feed you as a person, to feed your love of nature, to feed your sense of adventure, to feed your hope and your sense of personal empowerment, and to share with you the wonder that it is to live on the coastline and at the same time help to provide all of you with the belief in self and others, belief in the good in self and others necessary to turn with clear eyes and face the troubles that confront us with both a bold and a happy heart. And we can. I just want to say I believe that we can face down the climate crisis. We can do it in a responsible way, in a just way, in a good way. We can make the lives better for ourselves and for everyone. And that's our mission here at the OBX Wave Report. So, you know, if I'm giving you guys, information on stuff that I'm doing, that's my motivation. I am blessed to be able to do this for all of you. So thank you all. All right. So today in the Outer Banks we have a little bit of a nor'easter. I'm calling it nor'easter light. It's not like a full nor'easter, but it's definitely cool. We've got the cool north winds blowing in after that spate of summer-like temperatures. It's feeling more like winter here in the OBX with temperatures in the upper 40s and lower 50s all down the strand. We've got those winds coming out of the north, and as those winds turned out of the north, they help to push up the surf a bit more. And we've got waves in the range of 3 to 4 feet, maybe a 5 foot wave out there here and there. We got some observations from the coastline for you, and it's just that classic slate gray, foamy North Atlantic stormy sea that you tend to witness here on the US East Coast during wintertime. Although it is a nor'easter light, so this isn't anything too crazy. We've got the cooler conditions, we've got the lighter rains, and you can see the cloud pack here over the Outer Banks as a part of a front that's been draped over the mid-Atlantic and southeast and runs in through the Mississippi River Valley and down in through Texas, over parts of Tennessee and northern parts of Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, that kind of thing. And this has been around for a little while now, and it looks like for the forecast, we're going to be seeing some potential for severe weather in the Mississippi River Valley region. We're going to talk about that. And then out here in California, we've just been getting hit by a powerful cold low that got spun down from the northwest here by a large high pressure system and has just been hammering Southern California with heavy precipitation and extraordinary snows running down even into the mountains like above San Diego. So a very unique, I guess unique, it might not be the right word, but I don't know. It's a strange kind of freaky storm striking California right now that a number of weather experts have had a lot to say about it. And we're going to get into a little bit of that just I guess, in a minute here in the OBX wave report. Overall, for wave conditions for the Outer Banks, things are expected to be relatively decent over the next few days, and we might get out into the surf for another observation for you guys. Um, I have done 10 sessions so far this year. My goal is 150, so we've got a lot to do. We might have to do double surf sessions on some days to keep up with the pace that I want to do. But in any case, we'll get out into the surf um, and talk to you guys about it. Okay, going down to the National Weather Service radar picture, I did want to show you the stationary front that's draped across parts of the southeast and mid-Atlantic, with the storms running in here through the Outer Banks, flowing in across this stationary front. And we've got small craft advisories, although no major gale warnings up, so nothing too crazy along the coast. And we went down for an observation down at the beach today. It looks stormy, but it's not too bad. If the sun was out, it would look a lot less stormy. But we do have, this wind's coming in out of the north, and we've got the rain, and we've got the cooler air moving in. And then as we head out west, you can see all these alerts popping up. And let's just go ahead and zoom in to California. And we've got blizzard warnings in the hills above Los Angeles in the Santa Clarita area. And this is just nuts. Serious snowfall has been going on hour after hour, day after day for the past couple of days now, and they are just really getting hammered with this influx of moisture that just keeps streaming in off the Pacific in association with a cold low that got spun down the front side of a high pressure system. And I've got a amazing visual from a weather expert on Twitter. I'm going to share that with you guys. And then we've got blizzard warnings up in the mountains of the Sierra Nevada range as well, up just west of Fresno and all along the ridge line here in central California as we get into the Sierra Nevadas. So very intense event here. And I'm going to analyze it for you. I'm going to talk a little bit about it in the context of climate conditions, and we're going to explore together if we can say that there's a climate fingerprint. Or if I can surmise based on my observations a climate fingerprint. I will certainly refer you to the experts. Peter Gleek is definitely someone who's been speaking out, and he's a climate scientist on the issue of this particular storm. And I'd be curious if some of the climate fingerprinting experts will analyze this storm to see if there's any climate related features. But I'm going to use the observational tools that are available to us here on the interwebs and see what we can tease out. All right, so I do want to go to Colin McCarthy. He's at US Storm Watch, storm expert, and has been tracking this storm and alerted us to the potential for very severe snowfalls back a couple of days ago. And I do want to highlight this tweet from a couple hours ago. It said, "The ongoing storm is one of the most impressive in history for the southern third of California. One mountain high saw 65 inches of snow in 24 hours, which is 2 inches shy of the California record. Doing a little bit of maths here, 65 inches, that's nearly 5.5 feet of snow in 24 hours is nuts. All-time rainfall records set in the San Joaquin Valley. So rainfall records shattered for the San Joaquin Valley. 5 to 10 inches of rain in the Hollywood area and accumulating snow down to 10,000 feet. And I do want to show you this sequence of images provided by NOAA in an animation on his page here. I'm just going to expand this for you so you guys can just see this storm pushing in like a buzz saw of squally impulses into Southern California, just like this blow after blow after blow after blow of storm, just boom, 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 just riding in there in Southern California. It's just something really impressive to watch here in the satellite picture. All right, so what's going on here in Southern California? Let's see what we can tease out. I'm going to zoom in. Actually, this is the Earth Null School wind map, and the winds here do give us an idea what's going on here over the Pacific. And what we can see is this large high pressure system. I'm going to switch to minimum central low pressure, but you can still see the circulation of the wind fields around the high. And this is a big old high pressure system. Wow, 949 millibars. That's a powerful high pressure system. I'm sorry, 1049 millibars. I have to correct myself sometimes because I get a brain now and then. So yeah, 1049 millibars of pressure at the center of this high pressure system, probably about a 1050 millibar high pressure system. And that is a big dome high pressure system, powerful dome of high pressure. And what this high is doing is it's driving warm air up into the Arctic. And on its front face, it's pulling down these storms down its front face, hurling them just off the coastline of Canada and Alaska and down here toward the US West Coast. And that's what happened with this low pressure system right now that's presently affecting California. It swept down out of the Pacific Northwest and then slammed into the southwest region of California. And the main driver for this storm was this massive high pulling this area of instability down from the northwest across the US West Coast. And I'm going to go backwards in time because I want to see this storm. And so let's just show you this storm as it came down. So 2 days ago, we had the high pressure system located a little bit further to the east. It wasn't as intense as it is now. And then you have this impulse forming over British Columbia and then just getting dragged down by the grinding force of this high pressure system as it moves in toward Southern California. And let's go back to now. And I'm just going to move back. And then also, so we've got that big old high pressure system. And I said we talk about climate a little bit here. Let's look at moisture. Let's look at total precipitable water. And generally speaking, doesn't appear to be like a major atmospheric river associated with this system, although it does create does bring in a lot of moisture that is basically getting squeezed off the outer edge of this double barrel high pressure system and forms this flow of moisture, this flood of moisture that is getting squeezed out into Southern California. I'm just going to back this up a little bit so we can get a better idea of the moisture flow here. So this is the low pressure system hurling this moisture into California. And it's the velocity in a way of the moisture moving off the ocean that is helping to enhance the storm, and it's kind of the angle as well. So you've got the moisture coming in and it's hitting these hills and mountains in California. It's that lift in the atmosphere that's adding to the precipitative potential of these storms. So you've got this flow of moisture coming in and it's just hitting these rises in the land at an angle and it's just wringing out the moisture. All right, so let's get down to the ocean surface and see if we can tease out any kind of climate stuffs here. Let's look at the sea surface temperature anomalies and the currents. And right now in the near coastal regions of California, ocean water temperatures are either cooler than normal or near normal or slightly above normal down here in the Baja. Um, so I overall near normal to slightly cooler than normal. And that's not unexpected. But what's interesting is this big pool of warmer than normal water in the region where we've had this massive high pressure system. And this big old high pressure system is creating this warmer air mass here in the center of the Pacific, and it's squeezing the moisture out to its boundary. And so we have a big old dome high pressure system that's squeezing the moisture out to the boundary. And the ocean water temperatures beneath the high pressure system are warmer than normal. So we might have a climate fingerprint here in the high pressure system, even though the low pressure system is the, we'll say, generator of the extreme weather that's occurring right now in California. And I would say if you're looking for a climate fingerprint in this system, it is this, is the warmer than normal Pacific waters over a very large region. And the large high pressure system, the big old dome high pressure system that's squeezing moisture out around the edges, squeezing moisture out, particularly into this trough zone where temperatures are cooler than normal. So you have more evaporation here at the ocean surface, like we'll say between Hawaii and the Aleutians, and then that moisture getting hurled out onto the edge of that high pressure system into this massive storm system that has been impacting California. Now, I'll leave the conclusions to the weather experts, but this is just a basic observation of climate change related conditions. It is worth noting that in a warmer atmosphere, you tend to get both more evaporation and precipitation. So your drought events tend to intensify and your precipitation events tend to intensify. And in the local region, we've got a much warmer than normal ocean surface temperature in the Pacific here beneath the big old dome high pressure systems that have been forming sea surface temperatures in the range of about 1 degree Fahrenheit to about 5 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. And that is rather warm departures there for that region of the Pacific. All right, so a little breakdown of the extreme event. Looking the extreme event in California. Looking on into the future, it does look like this event is about to taper off for Southern California, but regions of Central California on northward are still under the gun for pretty continuous barrage of storms as storms get hurled down the front side of that dome high pressure system. And then looking at the east and getting back here toward the Outer Banks. I know we talked a lot about the severe weather out in California, but it's kind of worth talking about. Looking back east, it looks like we've got a potential for severe storms east of the Mississippi here in northern Alabama and Mississippi and Tennessee over the next 7 days. We're looking at NOAA's quantitative prediction forecast. We're doing the nerd thing, major nerd thing, as we look at the QPF, because we're weather nerds here at the OBX Wave Report. And it does look like we've got some serious severe weather potential here east of the Mississippi and running in through Tennessee and parts of northern Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. We'll have to keep a weather eye toward things. Looking at the convective potentials, it does look like we have some potential severe thunderstorms over the next 3 days, and we'll have to look at this region for the next week. It does seem that, like with climate change, Tornado Alley is shifting eastward into this region, and it does seem that this region is under the gun for more severe weather over the next week. Now, looking east off the U.S. eastern seaboard, it does look like there's a potential for nor'easter formation out here, and that could be good news for us here in the Outer Banks for waves. All right, so let's get down to the coastline and talk a little bit about waves. I did get down to the beach, as I said before, but we're going to take some observations from our local wave monitors at the coastline. And moving down to Jeanette's Pier, which is a fantastic research platform for both the oceans and for renewable energy. And we love both the oceans and renewable energy here at the OBX Wave Report. So major props to Jeanette's Pier. I think I'm going to go down and try and interview the staff down there. I know I keep saying this, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it one of these days. Okay, so getting into the waves. Waves are right now 3 to 4 feet at Jeanette's Pier with a primary swell coming in out of the northeast at 7 seconds. Winds have turned around a bit to the northwest now at 12 miles per hour. So the winds have calmed down a little bit, and they're now in a offshore flow. Air temperature right now is 48 degrees, ocean water temperature at 51. That is cold on top of cold, so if you do get out there in the surf this evening, I don't think anybody's going, but if you do get out there, make sure you have cold weather protection. Right now it's raining and the air temperature is I'm sorry, the high today was 49. We're over the hump for high temperature today. And we're expecting to see north winds continue throughout the evening and into tonight. Heading on south to Rodanthe, we're going to go on past Body Island Light Station. We're going to go past Oregon Inlet and the Bonner Bridge. And we're going to head on past the Pea Island National Wildlife Refuge, which is a gorgeous place this time of year. Beautiful wildlife that you can enjoy. We're going to pass Pea Island Beach and head on down to Rodanthe. And right now, waves at Rodanthe are in the range of 2 to 4 feet, with a primary swell coming in at 7 seconds, secondary swell coming in at 10 seconds. Winds out of the northwest at 10 miles per hour, which is an offshore flow. Air temperatures a touch warmer at 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Ocean water temperatures at 56 degrees Fahrenheit. Present conditions are rain, and that's expected to continue throughout the evening and into tonight. The high today at 52 is about the present temperature there at Rodanthe, and north winds expected to continue into the evening. All right, and then heading on south, we're gonna go past Salvo and Waves, and we're gonna go on past Avon as well. And we are going to touch on the big wave spot for the Outer Banks generally, and this is the big wave spot today at Buxton, slightly outsizing Jeanette's Pier at 4.5 foot wave heights coming in an 8 second period. So 3 to 4.5 foot wave heights there at Buxton, with a primary period coming in at 8 seconds for the swell and a 5 second secondary swell as well. Winds out of the north-northwest, relatively gentle at 8 miles per hour. That is an offshore flow there at Buxton. Air temperatures at 54 degrees. Ocean water temperatures warming up a little bit with a little bit more of that Gulf Stream influence at 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Weather conditions right now are rainy. High today was 56 degrees, and we expect rainy conditions and north winds to continue on into the evening down there at Buxton. Okay, so let's start and let's broaden our perspective and look at the 2-week forecast, the 8 to 14 day temperature and precipitation outlooks. And man, look at this West Coast thing going on. It is expected to be rather cooler than normal over the US West, as looks like the trough is expected to continue to dig deep over the US West, and looks like it's edging in toward the central US off the front side of that high pressure system. So cooler than normal conditions expected to continue for the US Northwest, and then warmer than normal conditions expected for the US Southeast, although looks like the warmer than normal conditions over the next 8 to 14 days are expected to be driven more into the Florida region, although here in the Outer Banks, it's still expected to be a little bit warmer than normal. Looking at the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, we have above normal precipitation for most of the U.S., focusing in on the central U.S., with near normal precipitation at the coastlines, and the only below normal region being the Pacific Northwest. I did say a few things about the potential for severe weather for portions of the Mississippi River Valley area and then eastward. And looking at the convective outlook over the next 3 days, the severe thunderstorm potential does focus in on some of the expected areas, although it does look like regions for Texas particularly. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. By day 2, it does look like Texas and Oklahoma and regions surrounding it are more so under the gun for severe thunderstorm activity in the general severe thunderstorms, slight chance of tornadoes, decent chance of severe wind events, and low chance of hail. But nonetheless, some severe thunderstorms might be popping up on the 27th. So please keep a weather eye if you are in these regions and pay attention to your local emergency management and your weather professionals for any kinds of advice and alerts with regards to these potential storms. Okay, so let's go to our global forecast system model, and I'm going to go ahead and run this model to show you guys where we expect the weather to kick up and provide you guys with a perspective on both US and Outer Banks weather. And for today, we've got our stationary front, mild nor'easter conditions. We've got our low here that is still providing some severe precipitation for California. And we've got another impulse riding down the front side of that high. I'm going to go ahead and advance these models. We see the low pressure system move out of California. We see the stationary front move out and become a Atlantic Ocean system. We see more precipitation heading into the west coast off the front side of that high. And then as we get into Monday, we have a strong low pressure system that develops from the storm in California as it hops across the Rockies. This strong system focusing in on the central US and triggering potential severe weather for parts of Oklahoma, Texas. Looks like it's getting on north into Kansas, Nebraska, and parts of Iowa as it heads east. And then the storm focuses in on the Great Lakes region as it intensifies, with rains south and snow and ice north, and then sweeps on into the U.S. northeast as we get into the day on Tuesday, forms a bit of a coastal low, and then rushes off the U.S. East Coast. And then as we get into Wednesday, we have another impulse moving through the central U.S., the northern tier of the central U.S., heading on in through the Great Lakes, dragging a front behind it. And this one looks like it might affect the Outer Banks by Thursday. Overall, relatively mild weather for the Outer Banks over the next few days, nothing too crazy stormy. I'm going to get into the wave forecast. We're going to look at the wave models. And right now, the waves getting generated in the near offshore environment are in the range of 3.5 to 5.5 feet. And as we get into the day tomorrow, these waves are expected to fall down to the 3 to 4 foot range, although with that easterly swell, I would expect wave conditions to be pretty decent into the day tomorrow. Air temperature is expected to warm up a little bit, and the winds are expected to be light, so we might get some nice glassy surf. And then as we get into the day on Monday, swell maintaining in the range of looks like 2 to 3 feet. These might be some nice, relatively small glassy waves, probably in the range of 1 to 2, 1 to 3 foot at the coast, but nonetheless, decent little waves here for Tuesday. It's expected to warm up a bit on Tuesday. And then as we get into the day on Wednesday, we get more of a southerly flow with 4 foot, 4.5 foot surf in the near offshore environment. But it's worth noting that for the more northward beaches as we get into the day on Wednesday, less likely to see swells wrapping around and heading toward the coastline. It does look like the wind will be heading out of the west, and that may blow the waves offshore. So, yeah, so we'll see. But Wednesday does not look like a good surf day, at least for now. And then into the day on Thursday, March 1st, we get the wind. So on Thursday, March 1st, we get the wind turning around toward the east again. Let's go ahead and look at the wind. Looks like a southeasterly flow. As the waves pick up out of the east and northeast in a looks like a 3 to 5 foot range for Thursday. And this looks like a pretty good day on Thursday as temperatures are expected to warm up with that southeasterly flow there coming in off the Gulf Stream. So overall, I would say pretty fun rideable waves over the next week with relatively warm conditions in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Not as warm as we experienced this past week, but nonetheless relatively warm. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to this coming week when it comes to surf. I do want to zoom out, and I've been talking about the Atlantic Ocean with regards to wave conditions, and we've got a big old storm system that's developing in the North Atlantic right now. It's a bit of a bomb cyclone, and I'm gonna, things that make you go, Let's look at minimum central. I'm gonna go to the air and show you the winds around this thing first, because this is just a big old massive ocean storm system with very powerful winds. I'm going to zoom in. I bet I can find near hurricane force winds. I've already found, yeah, there you go. 74 mile per hour sustained winds on the west side of this system. Massive, powerful storm system. And then on the south side, yeah, it looks like 74 mile per hour winds as well. So sustained winds in the range of hurricane force. And I bet we're getting gusts that are well above hurricane force in this system out here in the North Atlantic. And let's look at the pressure. And this is going to overestimate the pressure, or yeah, well, it's gonna shoot higher than the actual pressure. You could probably say that this is about a 955 millibar system. So very powerful system. Looks like yeah, looks like a bomb cyclone. Like so 2 days ago, it was just two storms that then yesterday began to join together with a minimum central low pressure about 966 millibars and then bombing out today. Let's make sure this is, oh no, no, no. This, okay. I'm going to have to correct myself because this system bombed out over the course of today. So the lowest pressure earlier today was 976 millibars. Then, as we got into the morning hours this morning, Eastern time, we have the system developing a minimum central pressure of around 967, 966 millibars. And then by now, we've got a system with about 955, maybe 956 millibars. It's 958 in this measure. But in any case, nearly 20 millibar of pressure drop in less than 24 hours. So yeah, some bombification going on there with some very powerful winds. And this system, let's go back to the ocean and to the waves. This system is expected to bring some massive waves. Look at this tomorrow. And yeah, this is going to be a nightmare for the shipping lanes. We've got 45-foot significant wave heights in one quadrant of this storm as it moves north toward Greenland. I do want to go back to the wind, and I'm just curious. Let's look at the air. Near the center of the storm system, still not quite hurricane force. So the storm itself is expected to broaden, and I bet looks like it might weaken a little bit. Let's get back to the I don't know. Ooh, 943. I was wrong. Okay, so this storm is expected to continue to strengthen as it broadens. 943 millibars. Holy cow. So it looks like 24 to 36 hour period, 33 millibar drop in pressure. Definitely a bomb. 45-foot significant wave heights. Massive, powerful storm here out in the North Atlantic by tomorrow. And then by the next day, we've got these massive waves heading toward Greenland in the range of 40-foot significant wave heights and propagating toward Europe. Let's see. This is on Monday. And then on Tuesday, I said tomorrow, but this is on Monday. Actually, let's get into the day on Monday. As we get into the evening time on Monday, This will be Eastern Standard Time. We get the waves propagating toward Portugal with significant wave heights in the range of 15 feet in the near offshore environment, 12 feet off of Ireland. And then I'm just going to go ahead and advance this so you can see these waves propagating toward Europe. Just large waves in the range of 10 feet off of most of Europe. And pretty much the whole North Atlantic Ocean becomes a big old bathtub as another pair of storms just dances offshore. And the wave heights fall down as we get into March 1st, but still maintaining rather large. And then we get another system heading off the US East Coast that appears to be set to develop into a large storm as well. So major storm system bringing generally large surf for parts of Europe. Let's just go back to now. And it's also worth noting that the US West Coast is likely experiencing some relatively decent surf here with these storms rolling in as well. All right, so I've spent a lot of time with the OBX wave report today and provided you guys with all the analysis. Today has been a fun day here in the Outer Banks nonetheless, despite the fact that we have a light nor'easter. I got out and I did some surf workouts and I posted the surf workout on Twitter, mainly for feedback. 50 years old. I'm trying to maintain my health and my musculature and my athleticism because I'd like to improve as a surfer. I'd like to get out there in the waves and provide you guys with some good surf videos. And so if anyone has any advice on how I can improve, please go to the Twitters and leave me a comment. I love to hear what you guys have to say. So in any case, thank you for joining me for the OBX Wave Report for this Saturday, February the 25th session of the OBX Wave Report. And as I always do, I'm just going to implore you all to please do everything you can to help speed the transition to clean energy and help protect our beautiful coastlines from the impacts of climate change driven by fossil fuel burning. The clean energy answers being wind, water, solar, and electric vehicles. And the main threats to the coastlines right now being rising sea levels driven by glacier melt, land glacier melt, which is driven by fossil fuel burning, and the increasingly powerful storms that threaten the coastline that feed on the warmer waters, the warming ocean waters, which provide more fuels for powerful storms. These warming of the ocean waters also driven by fossil fuel burning. We can get on past fossil fuels. We don't need them. Don't let anyone tell you that we're stuck, that there's a no way out. Don't let people make you believe that. There's always a way